Hey everybody, it's me again, your Sam. So, you might notice that I have a little bit of a rough voice today, but I'm going to muster through this video because it's been a while. We have, my husband and I, Gonzo, as most of you know, have been fighting a cold for the past few days. And it has been really interesting. I just want to update you a little bit. I have started a new job. I'm now working at Target, and it has helped a lot. It's gotten me out of the house. It's going to help pay bills now and all that good stuff. So I am employed part-time with Target. And with that being said, I am going to continue my schedule of videos and writing and all that good stuff to help keep you entertained and to follow with my goal of being published this time next year. With that being said, I wanted to share with you a few of my favorite books. Some of these are going to be a series of books, but I just wanted to do something like this, and I thought it might be interesting to you to see what has influenced me and what I like. So the first two have always been tied to me. They kind of interchange. Sometimes I read one more during the year than I do the other, and these I have reread almost every single year. It's just something I do. It's something I love to do. One is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and the other is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. And if y'all know me at all, you know that I love both of those books, and I have reread them over and over and over again. Jane Austen hasn't been with me as long as The Hobbit. I remember reading The Hobbit the first time in 5th grade, I think it was. Anyway, the cover that I'm putting up is the cover that I remember first picking up in Ranger Elementary School library. In the first one that I read, and I read it again, I know, in 8th grade. Because I got in trouble in Miss Janie Forrester's class for not putting it up quickly enough when she was starting class. Thought that was amusing. It's near and dear to my heart because it is the first epic fantasy I remember reading. It set the stage pretty much for everything. J.R.R. Tolkien did a lot of work for Middleearth and that world that he built, and we are still building off of what he built, and still experiencing The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings over and over again. I mean, the movie adaptations were done just, recently and have been enjoyed by a lot. If you can't get through the books, I do recommend the movies. Peter Jackson and everybody did the best that they could with what they were given and the amount of time that they were given. I'm sure if Peter Jackson had his way, all of the movies would be 3 hours long and there'd be 6 or 7 per book just to get everything in there that is the awesomeness of Tolkien's world of Middle-earth and his characters and the language, and I mean, it's a beautiful work. Highly recommend it. Now, Pride and Prejudice is another book that I love to reread just because it's Jane Austen. I don't really know how to explain it, but Pride and Prejudice kind of opened up my eyes to how we perceive others and how that can sometimes be wrong while still being correct. You don't know what's going on in other people's lives. You don't know what's going on in their head. Pride and Prejudice just kind of solidifies that in your mind, and it teaches you to look underneath and to not assume and to not stereotype. I know I have been guilty in the past of judging and stereotyping, and I hope that I have gotten better at not doing that, and I have gotten more accepting of people. My next book is The Silmarillion. Again, it's by J.R.R. Tolkien. This one is my favorite. It became my favorite in college. I had read it before in high school, I believe, part of it. And it didn't really stick with me. I think I had a lot of stuff going on or something, and I just put it down and I never picked it back up again until college. And we actually had a class on it. And it became my favorite then because I was able to actually read it and enjoy it and study it and delve into it. And it is just the genesis to the world that is Middle-earth. It impressed me. It let me know that not everything has to be perfect and set in stone in a world in your writing. You can change, you can grow, you can just plop random things in there and see how it fits. And it's a puzzle of a book, and it creates a very beautiful picture in my mind. The next that I have, let me grab my list here, is Hana Kimi. Now this isn't necessarily a book, it's a manga series. It's by Hisaya Nakano. I will her name is actually going to be on the picture that's probably popped up right now, so I know I butchered it. But Hana Kimi is just a cute kind of slice of life manga that adds in intrigue by a girl joining a boys' school over in Japan so that she can meet her idol. Just the antics and the fun that ensues in that manga series is just, it amuses me. It's my go-to feel-good manga. Actually, it's kind of right behind me right here. You can see the end. So Hana Kimi is just a fun manga series that I just love and adore, and I end up rereading it. There's actually a live action comedy on YouTube that you can watch. Hana Kimi For You in Full Blossom, I think, is the full title on YouTube. It is Good Omens, and I highly recommend the TV series that Amazon did on Good Omens if y'all have read the books or have not read the book. This is by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Good Omens is, I can't really describe it. It's a fun take on the whole biblical apocalypse thing. A demon and an angel working together to thwart the end of the world, and there's the 4 horsemen, and it's amazing. Good Omens is another feel-good book for me to turn to whenever I'm feeling a little bit down and I just want a little bit of comedy in my life. Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett's writing is just amazing as always, too. Also, the audiobook for it, superb. You gotta listen to it. Next one is People of the Wolf. This is a rather hefty series as well. The first book is People of the Wolf, then is People of Fire, I believe, and People of Earth. Anyway, it's by W. Michael Gear and Kathleen O'Neill Gear. They're a husband and wife archaeologist team. They have studied the indigenous people of Americas. People of the Wolf covers the crossing the Bering Strait from Russia over into Alaska and down into the rest of North America. It can get a little wordy, but it's fascinating to me because you realize that these people have seen the remnants of the tools and the lives that these people lived back then, and they have created a romance, a story, a magic system around these facts that they know. And it's incredible to me. I really highly recommend the series. People of the Wolf was actually my favorite. People of the Lakes, I would say, is maybe my second favorite. They're all standalone books. There is a order to the series, if you want to go from the very first time that people came over into North America to the tribes that we know of today. The next two are going to be guilty pleasures of mine. I'm kind of a little embarrassed that they are actually some of my favorite books. But it is what it is, and I have reread them several times, and they are my guilty pleasures, and I guess I'll just own up to it. The first one is Dare to Kiss a Cowboy. It's by Renee Roszel. Roszel. Dare to Kiss a Cowboy is just a cutesy little romance. It's really short. It's short and sweet kind of book. Kind of enemies to friends to lovers kind of aspect. It's not really raunchy, so you don't really have to worry about that. I just like it. I like the main character. She's kind of spunky and she tries to make her way in the world. Cowboying is a man's world, and she thrusts herself into it and says, I can do it just like you can. So that's the reason why I like that. Another one is Montana Sky. This is another guilty pleasure. It's by Nora Roberts. It's another romance. Now, it can get a little raunchy. I think Hallmark did a movie on it, so, if that says anything to you. It's about three sisters, who are kind of thrust together at the will of their dead father to inherit his legendary ranch and money. So it's the story of them coming together and dealing with some trauma that happens and getting to know one another. And it has some comedy in there, and again, it's a strong female lead that is thrust into man's world, and she says that she can do it just as well, if not better, than them. That's the reason why I like that book. The next one is kind of a given. It's The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I did not think I would like these books at all. I wasn't really into dystopian type, but The Hunger Games just caught me, and it sent me on its whirlwind, on its mockingjay wings, and I fell in love with it. It caught me at first because it's, the Appalachians. That's where Katniss is from, basically. And it just kept me from there. I love the story. I love the movies. I just like people overcoming difficult situations, I guess. And the last, but definitely not the least, most of this whole series, the Narnia Chronicles is, I'm just going to say it, the Narnia Chronicles. It's not necessarily just The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, because I love all of the books. I've reread them several times. Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe and The Horse and His Boy are my two favorites of the series, I have to say. Prince Caspian's coming up close there. Voyage of the Dawn Treader, can't make up my mind. They're all good. They're all by C.S. Lewis, and they're just really good books. They're really good fantasy books, and I loved the idea growing up that you can open a random wardrobe and be thrust into a new and fantastical world with talking animals, and it was a way for me to just escape. Not that I had much to escape from. I had an awesome childhood, but it gave my imagination a place to go. Say it that way. So those are the books that have influenced me. I would like to think that one day I can write as beautifully as C.S. Lewis and Tolkien, or as spunky as Austen, or just to capture you like Collins did. We'll see. I'll get there. But those are my favorite books. Now, the the number of them changes. You know, they're all pretty much up there in the top 10. They don't really have a set in stone place. I will have to say that the Silmarillion, the Hobbit, and Pride and Prejudice are always in the top 3, just because of the love that I have for them. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you excuse my odd voice. But I think we did pretty good. I didn't have a coughing fit or anything. I only had to drink tea once, so we did good, right? Hopefully next week I will have another video up. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be about. It might be about TV adaptations, or it might be a little bit about I'm No Hero again. So we'll see. I haven't made up my mind yet. Anyway, have a good day. Don't get sick. And be kind.